On October 16, 2023, police rescued Chloe Jones, a 23-year-old woman from Ohio, who had been beaten and held captive in a shed for days. William Mazingo, the alleged perpetrator, was recorded professing his love for his victim Chloe as he was being arrested and sent to jail. But before we get into today's story, if you are a fan of the true, dark, and mysterious tales, then make sure to like this video and subscribe, as it really helps out a beginner YouTube channel like myself. So without further ado, let's get into today's story. Chloe Jones is a 23-year-old woman from Ohio. On the evening of October 12th of 2023, Chloe was just about to go home when one of her not-so-close acquaintances offered her a ride home. The acquaintance that offered her a ride home was a man by the name of William Mazingo. Despite his intimidating tattoos which were evident all over his body, she believed it was a kind gesture and jumped on board. The ride started off normally, with the vehicle driving through the quiet October night of Akron, Ohio. However, midway through the ride, Chloe realized that they were heading a different direction from her home. But being optimistic that it was probably just a shortcut or a detour to avoid traffic, she remained calm. However, when the vehicle came to a halt, she realized immediately that something was wrong. It wasn't her home, and the man that sat beside her no longer looked like the nice man that offered her a ride home. Investigations are still ongoing, but it's presumed that William physically overpowered Chloe, forced her from the vehicle to the shed that's located behind a house that William had once lived in. And from that point onwards, for the next 4 grueling days, Chloe would be physically assaulted beyond recognition. And although the timelines of the events are still being investigated, it's presumed that Chloe was tied up, dosed with gasoline, and threatened to be lit on fire. She was beaten from head to toe with a baseball bat and fists. She claimed that she was held at knife point dozens of times and threatened to have her throat slit. I mean, imagine that. Dozen times? That's 3 times per day. Just imagine the psychological state that she must have been in, or the fear that she must have felt for the 4 grueling days that she was being captured. She was forced to urinate on herself and was not afforded any bathroom breaks. William also choked Chloe multiple times, all while being told that if she passed out, that he would slit her throat. William wanted Chloe to be fully awake through the entire capture so that she could comprehend every inhumane act that was being done to her. However, thankfully, Chloe was rescued. However, I must say, it was pretty darn close. The house that William imprisoned Chloe at actually wasn't his house. He used to live there some time ago, but wasn't living there at the time of this crime. But because he had used to live there, he knew where everything was, including the keys to the shed. The owners of the home and shed were a husband and wife, in which the husband recognized William at the house and asked him to smoke a blunt outside, in which the oblivious husband, who is the owner of the home and knows William as an old acquaintance, walked inside his home, rolled up a blunt, and came down to smoke with William. And as they were smoking the blunt, the husband hears a human voice coming from somewhere above them. This quickly alerts the husband and asks William if he heard anything. William says he heard nothing, but then a few seconds later, the voice is heard for the second time. And this time, the husband was sure that it was a female human voice, and even heard the exact words as it asked, "Can I come down now?" Realizing that something was wrong here, the husband started investigating the shed. He climbed on top of one of the speakers that was laying there to search for the voice above, where he saw Chloe clenched in fear and bruised up. Chloe was desperate to be saved. However, the husband did not want to make a scene or make any sudden accusations that might trigger the clearly mentally unstable William. William tried to downplay the severity of the situation, and so the husband withdrew himself from the scene as normally as he could and notified the police. And when police arrived at the door of the couple's home, the wife started frantically filling in the details of the situation to the police officers. This is footage of the wife telling the police officers that she is 100% certain that there's a girl that is being held captive in her shed. She also tells them that this particular girl has been beaten and that William is supposed to be under probation and that she knows all of this because she has a camera set up in her backyard. Take a look.
How do we get in? Can we get in the door?
You have to kick in the side door. We don't care. I don't care at all. He used to live here, so he can tap into anything. But we have cameras up for other reasons.
Right, I got you. You know he's in there for a fact?
I know for a fact.
You can kick your door. You can kick it in?
I swear to God, go ahead. Please. I don't know what's wrong with this girl. Oh,
there's a girl in there with him?
Yes, I told them this on the... I told them this. There's a girl in there. She's very small and slim. My husband said he didn't really get a good look at her, but he's yelling at her. Before I beat the living fuck out of her face, she can't see out of her eyes.
Okay.
So this is why I'm nervous. This is why I've been calling his officer all morning, and I don't even know if that's even the right thing to do.
You know 100%.
I know 100%.
However, despite the woman conveying the severity of the situation, the police officers that responded to the scene do not seem to resonate with this. They seem to assume that this is some kicking an average squatter out of a property type of situation. I do not see the urgency that should be demanded at a situation like this. Unless the police officers thought that the homeowner was bluffing on what she's claiming, I don't fully understand how they can make jokes of entering through the roof and having extremely casual conversations as they are waiting for a tool to open this door. However, in the police's defense, they probably didn't want to just rampage in there, which may trigger William to react violently towards Chloe. But I believe, if that was the case, making jokes in front of the very shed where you were told a girl is being held captive probably wasn't the most practical move.
I say we're going through the roof, through the top. You have shingles? We can go in through the roof, Craft.
Oh shit. That thing's sweet. That's your personal deal?
Yeah.
What scenario did you see that you might need that in?
It's weird that you've been on 20 how many years and you haven't used it yet? It's weird.
Wednesday, that's going out.
Yeah, let Moss do it since he's done.
Yeah.
Does it go on
Moss is the one that should have it.
go up on a roof, Moss, and
Have your way.
Gary set up the next person.
Do they not have it? Well, I brought my truck today because Karen got jury duty. And I am like panicking driving in that Morley deck because it's like this high from everything. Like this close and it's tapping off everything. And so I was driving slow and I couldn't really find a spot to park.
I saw where you parked. I'm like, when I first started parking, I thought the same thing. I'll just pull in, park, and get out and go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to drive around.
I made the mistake of going around thinking I could park in the back.
Well, first,
Hey, you got like 12 of us here.
here's our option.
We could have dug a tunnel into there by now.
Well, we were thinking the roof.
We were going to go through the roof.
Go through the roof.
Yeah, that thing we might need that when we're in there.
But we're thinking of
Mounts again here. William, this is Jackson Police Department. This is your last chance. Come out now with your hands up, or we'll be sending the canine in to apprehend you. You will get bit by the dog. William, last chance.
Now, after about 5 minutes of practically messing around, the police have finally found the tool to open this door. And you can see the sudden change in their demeanor as they see her face as she climbs down from the shed and understand the severity of the situation. However, I question again, didn't they already know this? The woman already told you what was happening. And when they do see her face, nobody bothers to ask if she's okay. No compassionate remarks, no offering of a blanket, nothing. The first thing that Chloe asks for is some water.
Better come out! Come out now with your hands up!
The police are finally able to break in through the door. And as soon as they do, they apprehend William Mazingo. And while being arrested, William proceeds to profess his love to Chloe, even as he's being transported to the police van. Once William is arrested, the police officers finally enter the shed and spend the next few minutes setting up a ladder to bring down Chloe. And with the officers' help, Chloe makes her way down to the ground safely. Chloe Jones was rescued by the police officers at approximately 9:52 a.m. on the 16th of October of 2023, and William was arrested immediately and sent to jail. After being rescued, Chloe spent 3 days in the ICU over facial fractures, brain hemorrhage, and broken arms and fingers. And as the rescue mission was now successfully completed, the investigations were underway. A few days after Chloe's rescue, Chloe and her mom, Jessie Barham, vocalized their experiences by stating that they want this case to be known and publicized in hopes of warning other potential victims. Jessie, the mother of Chloe, said that her daughter is covered in massive bruises the size of her hand all over her body, and the parts of her face were paralyzed. She also sustained emotional and psychological damage that will far outlast her physical injuries. During the kidnap, Chloe succumbed to the idea of accepting her death. The two brave women created a GoFundMe page that would be used to cover further expenses while she recovers physically and mentally. I mean, she's clearly a warrior. I've donated an amount myself, so if you want to start 2024 with a good deed on your list, make sure to visit their page. In the case of William Mazingo, some alarming details about him were released as the investigations were underway. It was discovered that this particular kidnapping was just the tip of the iceberg. This was actually William Mazingo's fourth abduction case. He had a lengthy criminal record and even served prison time for the same crime of kidnapping and abduction in 2011, 2014, and 2019. During the most recent attack in 2019, he kidnapped his ex-girlfriend, beat her, and left her unconscious and naked in his home in Ohio. He served 18 months in prison before he was released on parole, which he was serving until his most recent arrest. He even held a woman at knife point in a Walmart bathroom in 2017. It really doesn't take a professional detective to conclude that this man is a reoffender. This man was dangerous and should not have been able to walk the streets as he pleased. The lack of remorse from his past crimes were clearly evident from the sheer number of repetition of the same criminal act. And in speaking of why this man shouldn't have been allowed to walk the streets in the first place, let's circle back to the moment when we were all waiting in front of the shed for this tool to arrive to open this unforgiving door. The police officers were casually throwing jokes around and waiting for this tool to arrive. I mean, the reason why they couldn't just barge in there was because of this tool, and I guess that warrants them a good enough reason for standing by. However, is this the best we could have done? I mean, this officer seems like he's having the time of his life. And I know I'm exaggerating, but am I though? This officer has the audacity to narrate a random work story. I mean, come on. She's right there. She's literally right there, guys. You guys are professionals. She's literally crawled up right behind this wall in fear for her life as this officer is narrating his story. What can I say? But you know what? They couldn't have known. Not to that extent, so I understand. But then I do question, didn't we already know who he was before we went in? We knew who he was, we knew his name. Nobody searched up his name to find the 3 convictions of kidnapping that he had prior. I mean, just maybe the girl that is in there right now as we're throwing jokes around is facing the same fate as the 3 other victims that he was convicted of kidnapping for. I just think that it could have been handled more professionally, with a little bit of more compassion from the police officers given the magnitude of the situation. As William is being arrested and escorted to the police van, he professes his love for Chloe one last time, attempting to remind her of the last 4 torturous days.
I love you, Chloe.
That is something. The delusional is inconceivable. It really makes you wonder what could have happened to Chloe if she wasn't rescued. If the husband didn't coincidentally spot William in his backyard and offered him to smoke a blunt with him, he would have never found Chloe, and the police would never have been notified. This is footage of the husband explaining to the police officers the first time he discovered Chloe in his shed.
And then like 30 seconds later, again, she's like, can I come down? And I said, who the f is in here, man? And she's like, look, I can't get down. I said, who the f? I said, bro, who the f? She's like, man, I'm sorry, bro. He's like, that's I need to talk to you. You need to talk to you. I said, what the f is going on? I said, yeah, you can get down. I said, give me a second, I'm gonna help you. And I climbed up on the speaker, and then I seen her face. I said, oh my f***ing God. I said, what the f? And she's like, I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. I said, just listen, I said, just grab onto me. I told her to bear hug me and wrap her legs around my waist. I said, I'm gonna get you down. I'm not gonna drop you. I'm gonna make sure you get down, and you're gonna be okay. And I got her down and put her on the stool and talked to her for a second and tried to relax her. And then, like I said, that's why I went in the house and I waited a minute to tell her because I didn't know how to handle the situation or be able to get her safe without anybody else getting f***ed up or something, you know what I mean?
That's a good friend of ours.
And like I said, about an hour and a half later, I told her. And then we talked about it and I said, well, when I go to work, then when you take the kid to school, because we don't want him to see none of this going on, then we're going to have, I said, we have to make sure that the girl's okay first and foremost. I can't live myself if something happened worse than what I've already seen her look like, you know what I'm saying?
Chloe was ultimately saved, but her innocence was not. No human being should ever have to experience what she went through. I hope that this video invites you to visit her page and help out if you can. William Mazingo was charged with kidnapping, unlawful restraint, and felonious assault. He pleaded not guilty.